says you need a vacation for a view like this? Or, I wish there was a place to get in shape. Try getting on the beaten path. Discover an ever-expanding network of trails and greenways. Some quintessential southern beauty. Or romp through the woods in a magical land between the rivers. There's more to explore than you ever imagined. Beyond the swing sets. Breck, we are more than a playground.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Buggs Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. Clarence Buggs along with the coach. How are you today, young man?
Life is good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We start today's show with an individual that all of Baton Rouge and the baseball community is familiar with, HBCU ranks, and Major League Baseball as well. If you would, do the honors, Coach, of introducing to our viewing audience our first guest for today's show.
Yeah, I'm honored to introduce our first guest. He's one of my former players, a kid that Coach Fernando Pueblo and I signed out of BRCC. Mm-hmm. And I remember the first meeting with his mother, how she said, "I want my son to play for you."
Right.
And how willing he was, and how willing he was to listen to the information we had to give. The person I'm speaking about is Cody Hall. Cody, how are you today?
Doing good, Coach. How are you?
Fine. You know, Cody, I want to tell a story. When we signed you, you were a guy with a lot of potential, but you came out of a situation where the coach had you throwing a lot of breaking pitches, way too many for what you had to offer, and you were sitting about 88. You could have gone to 90, and one thing I told you right off the bat, if you throw more fastballs, you have a chance to play professional ball. And you believe and trusted me. And you could tell a story. What happened after you started throwing more fastball? What happened?
So, when I first met Coach, well, first what happened was I went into the office and I had a mohawk. And he told me, I want you to play for me, but you got to cut that off your head. We got to look like an athlete. And the other thing he told me was, I remember I was pitching at BRCC. We were playing Southern in the fall, and I was throwing a lot of breaking balls. I had told LJ I want to pitch against this team. I want to get seen. And I remember Coach Cador coming to me after the game and saying, you got a good arm, but you throw too many curveballs. I took that advice to heart, and I started working and started throwing a lot more fastballs. Next thing you know, that 88-mile-an-hour fastball jumped up to a mid-90s fastball, and the success went from there. I started getting noticed. Command got better. I started getting guys out, getting ahead with the fastball, using the other stuff if I needed it.
Well, the other thing, Cody, and we had a lot of fun at Southern, and I preach having fun. And in your junior year, when I had you in the bullpen relieving, you would come in and I would say, what did I tell you to throw to the hitters? I would yell, throw them to what?
The radio ball or the Night Rider.
The Night Rider. And that was a term used in the Negro League, because you asked me, what is the Night Rider? I said, well, back in the Negro League, people who had really good fastball, they played at night, they could barely see the ball because the lights weren't that good. And I would say, throw the Night Rider. Well, that was a reason I told you that. I wanted first for you to have the confidence that your Night Rider could get people out. And secondly, we weren't trying to trick people, because many times people hear you telling them what's coming, they don't believe it. Would you agree?
Yes, I would agree 100%. I mean, there was many times that it got yelled out the dugout, and hitters knew what was coming. They knew it was coming. Coach Bill, he used to call it the radio ball too. He'd say, "You might not see it, but you're going to hear it." And you basically you let the hitters know what was coming, and sometimes they didn't want to believe you really weren't telling them. I remember one inter-squad game. Y'all told me to tell them what I was throwing. So on the mound, I was signaling what pitch I was throwing when I was on the mound.
You see, that's the kind of thing we're building. Now, you got drafted by the Detroit Tigers as a junior, but you decided you weren't going to sign. Am I correct?
Yes.
And then you came back and you said, Coach, if I come back, I would like to start rather than being the bullpen. And I gave you the opportunity to start. So tell me what that did for you.
So I remember, me and you talked on the phone. I was playing in the Florida Collegiate League, and at the time, and in summer ball, and I called you on the phone and I said, Coach, next year I would, if I can, I'd like the opportunity to be a starter, and you told me right there on the spot that I could come earn it in the fall. I was always a reliever, go short stints, and you told me to come in shape, be ready to go multiple innings, and I could earn that spot. I think the best thing that did for me is it really made me bear down and learn how to pitch, really how to command the fastball. When I was coming out the bullpen, I had that fastball that, I could get it by guys regularly. Well, when you become a starter, guys start to see you, the second time through the lineup, the third time through the lineup, and, you have to learn, how to hit your spots. You also had to learn, to move the ball in and out, up and down. That was a big thing for me, because then it showed that my fastball, I could do anything I wanted to do with it. I didn't even have to throw a breaking ball if I didn't want to. I could throw it up. I can change their eye level up. I could go down. I could go in and out. And I really felt like it turned me into the pitcher that I finished my career with.
Yeah. Well, you're part of history. Not a lot of people, they didn't write about it, but I'm going to tell you today, you're the first white guy, the only white guy in all of the major sports at a HBCU, football, basketball, baseball, who have signed a professional contract and played in the big leagues. You're the only one. Nobody else have ever done that. And that makes you unique in that you became the very first one. And I don't know if I've told you that before, but I did the research. I knew you were, but I just wanted to check the research, and it proved me correctly. What you think about that?
Oh, I mean, it's an honor, and I was able to accomplish this because of my time at Southern University and at BRCC, but at Southern, the opportunities you and Coach Puebla gave me, my teammates, they were always there believing in me and what I did. I knew they always had my back. I didn't feel like I had to go out there and strike everybody out. I had a good defense behind me. I had a group of guys that worked real hard. We had, there was times where we didn't get along, but we pushed each other, and we made each other stick together. If a guy was late for practice, we held him accountable for that. And those kind of things, I think for that year for us was huge. And then when you called me and told me about that news, I was shocked. And I give a lot of credit to Southern University and the opportunity that they gave me, not on the field in the classroom, and then SWAC baseball. They always said it's a different type of baseball. You're in the games. You play a Grambling, they might go play a midweek game and get destroyed, and then you come in and play them. It's a totally different competition when these teams meet, and there's always a battle. There's always people talking, and it made you grow as a player, not just physically but mentally as well.
Yeah, before I turn you over to Clarence, I want to remind you of another situation happened. You were drafted by one of my former coaches, Erna Brathwaite, and his boss asked him, there was a pitcher at LSU and you when he was with the Giants, and he said, why would you take a kid from Southern rather than a kid from LSU? And he remembers something I told him about believing in what he believed. He said he told his boss, because he's the better pitcher. He's the one that's going to make it. And Cody, you made him look good because the kid from LSU got cut after 1 year, and you went on and played for the San Francisco Giants. That's a great story.
That is. I actually never knew that one, but it goes back to what I tell my kids that I train. I had 22 high school kids I trained this fall, and a lot of them are doing really well in high school right now, and they talk about wanting to go play college baseball, and the things that I tell people is it's not where you're at. You want to be able to get on the field and play, and baseball is baseball. You can look at the way the game's played. I mean, if you look at Alabama played Arkansas this weekend and they beat them 16-1. Baseball's a game where if your team's ready to play, any team can beat any team on any given day, and I feel like it doesn't matter what jersey you put on. It matters the work you put in. My clients, they thank me after they throw a 7-inning shutout against the number one team in the state, and I let them know, I'm just here giving you advice. You're the one that has to put the work in, and I think kids get away from that, and that they, it takes a lot of work. This is not an easy game, and it's going to take a lot of work to get where you want to be. And if you don't put that work in, you're not going to get where you want to be. So I think it doesn't matter where you go, where you play, as long as you put in the work and work hard every day, you can always have that opportunity.
So, Cody, how is it that you didn't play baseball in your junior or senior year at Central High School?
So there was some things going on at the school that I thought I should have been playing. I mean, I was riding the bench. I mean, I would get in, when guys needed a break, and when I got in, I produced and I did what I was supposed to, and I don't really know what was going on, but I just didn't get an opportunity, and I kind of lost that love for the game. Mm-hmm. And I remember me and my dad sitting down, and my dad said, "Work harder." And I said, "Dad, I'm giving it everything I got, everything I got." And he said, "Well, it's your decision." So I ended up, hanging it up and not playing my junior and senior year. And I happened to go to BRCC, and I was actually not going to play sports. I was going. I didn't score well enough to get into Monroe with my ACT, so I went there to get my grades up for a semester so I could transfer to pharmacy school.
Right. And
I happened to see some kids wearing BRCC baseball shirts, so I asked one of them, y'all got a team here? And they said, yeah. And I looked. I was actually on my lunch break at work one day, and I looked it up. I called my dad, and my dad said, "You want to put the work in?" I said, "I'll put the work in, Dad." And he said, "Well, give the coach a call and see when they got tryouts." So I ended up calling LJ Dupuis, and he said, "Look, we got tryouts next fall. You're welcome to come out and try out, and we'll go from there." And I went and tried out. I actually made the team as a hitter. I wasn't even a pitcher. I hadn't thrown that many innings in my life before then. I was mainly a position player. Right. And I made the team as a hitter, and once the season started, we started playing some guys that were throwing 95 with nasty sliders, and I wish I would know what I know now about hitting. I would have known it then, because I was rolling over everything to the shortstop. I just didn't know that I was just rolling my hands every time too early, And he said, you kind of throw the ball really hard when we go around the horn. Have you ever pitched? I said, I've thrown maybe 2 innings in my life. he said, well, let's go have a bullpen, So I went and threw a bullpen, and next thing you know, it went from there.
Wow. You also played overseas in the Venezuelan Winter League. What was the biggest adjustment for you in playing in that particular league, Cody?
Honestly, it was their professional league, but actually playing at Southern University helped me be able to cope with what I had to deal with in Venezuela. Mm-hmm. And when I say that, it's from an aspect of baseball down there is a lot different than baseball in the States. There's drums playing while you're pitching. There's showboating going on. Mm-hmm. Guys play baseball different down there, and the crowds are going extremely crazy. And while playing at Southern, I remember playing FAMU, and they had drumsticks pulled out, and they're playing drums on the water cooler. While I'm in the middle of the game pitching. So
right.
It's one of those things. But adjustments down there, I was a closer. I had a really good seasons when I went down there, and just really learning. Those guys weren't there to walk. They were there to hit the ball. That was the difference. They didn't like walking down there. They like to swing the bat. So you get ahead, and it's with any pitcher. If you can get, I always tell them, the best pitch in baseball is strike one. Second best pitch is strike two. Everybody wants to say a curveball or a fastball. No, it's strike one, and then it's strike two. You get ahead on the hitters. Now you can open up the zone a little bit to put them away, but you don't want to waste nothing. So being down there, it was a dangerous time down there. So we had to stay in our hotels, hotel rooms, unless we were at the field. Mm-hmm. But I mean, the fan bases down there, it was amazing. It was one of the coolest things I've ever did playing down there because, those fans, they really got behind you when you were doing well. You didn't want to be doing bad because they didn't like you to do bad. They liked their winning down there. But, I do give Southern a lot of credit for that because, like I said, baseball in the SWAC's a little bit different, and it actually it made me strong mentally to be able to go out there and handle that adversity, not technically on the mound, but, from the drums playing, the people yelling, the big horns, they're blowing the horns in the middle of a pitch, things like that.
Yeah. Cody, you had a unique, you and Jose De Leon was in the same rotation, and both of y'all got to pitch in the big leagues. What does that feel like?
I know that. It's kind of funny because my last year I was with Tampa, and, me and Jose were actually together. He had just went down on Tommy John that spring training that we were together, and, it was kind of cool where, I could be in the same locker room with a guy that he was a freshman when I got out of there, but, Jose worked his butt off. He still works his butt off to this day. He's always putting in the work. And, you could tell when he had to have Tommy John surgery, he was shot. But it didn't stop him. And he's still doing it to this day. He's still out there playing. And I think he's going to have a lot of success if he keeps his work ethic. Another thing was, when I was with the Diamondbacks in spring training, I got to play with Ricky Weeks. One of the all-time greats from Southern University. We were in the same locker room. I remember going and talking to him. I'm like, man, this is Ricky Weeks. This is history from Southern University. Yeah. And that was an awesome thing for me as well.
Well, you played with some really good players. We had really good players at Southern during my tenure, and I was fortunate to get people like you. I know you have a busy schedule at work, and you gave us a lot of your free time. So we really appreciate you sharing some good information with our listening audience. So thanks a bunch, Cody. We'll be talking.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, Cody, take care of yourself, young man.
Thanks, Larry. I appreciate it.
Is that the only instance you can think of where you had two of your products on a major league roster at the same time?
No, we had three kids. Ricky Weeks, Fred Lewis, and DeJuan Day played in the 2002, and they played in the big leagues.
But all on the same
not
franchise.
The same team, no.
Yeah.
No, that was the
situation
first time.
where we were talking about Jose and Cody both being at Tampa. Is that the only one that comes to mind?
And Ricky and Cody with the Diamondback.
Yeah.
Those are the only instances.
Well, that's enough for for me, I mean, that's why you're a Hall of Famer, guy. We are past our break. We'll get this one out of the way, but we got to stop for just a second and say hey to a very special correspondent who happens to be in the house today. Yep, she is still alive and kicking and doing well. Talking about our dear friend Erin. All right, let's get this break out of the way. We'll talk more next on this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Looking to get some keys made, locks rekeyed, or a wide variety of new and used safe? Then look no further than the trusted choice of Alfred Safe and Lock. Conveniently located off of Government Street in Mid-City, Baton Rouge. Trust the expert locksmith at Alfred for all of your residential, commercial, and industrial lock and safe needs. Trusted by Baton Rouge and me, Roger Cador, to protect what is yours since 1946.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. Clarence Buggs along with the coach, Roger Cador. We obviously, this past weekend, first official weekend of spring, and of course, it also means it is time for the madness, March Madness. Do you think they realized when they coined that term just how accurate it ends up being?
I think Brent Musburger might have been the one.
May have.
I think he might have had something to do with it.
Yeah.
But it really was mad this weekend.
Yeah.
It truly, and that's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's almost mad when you were in South Beach, I saw you.
I was a pigment of your imagination. That was not.
I thought I saw you in South Beach.
No, that was
That's
not me.
March Madness.
It's the time of year, and personally, I'm thankful because these young people have endured so much to get to this point that they should be rewarded for all the efforts and all the hurdles they had to go over, all the hoops they had to jump through to get to this point.
Yeah, and two particular leagues, the SWAC and the MEAC, they both had to win play-in games.
Right.
And they both did, which is the first time in the history. And that's a real big thing. But you had teams like Abilene Christian, Ohio University, Oral Roberts.
Yep.
I'm missing somebody else probably. And Loyola of Illinois. You know, all of those teams that nobody really gave a lot of chance to, and they won. And I mean, they won going into the Sweet 16.
Right. Says a lot about the nature of those programs. Of course, now our very own Louisiana State University Tigers, real successful in the first round, taking care of St. Bonaventure. We've got some highlights from that. We'll roll those as Coach and I continue our conversation here. This was a case, Coach, that St. Bonnie's, they were just outmanned. LSU was a more athletic team all the way around.
Yeah, I thought LSU would be more athletic than them. I thought that St. Bonnie might be played tough East Coast basketball. They're known, people on the East Coast play a good brand of basketball.
Right.
But the athletic ability of LSU was just a bit too much for them.
That Cam Thomas, the freshman, he is the real deal, isn't he?
He appears to be the real deal.
Yeah.
He really appears. I've watched him on a few games, and he holds his own really good. He's not afraid of the competition, so he does a really good job.
And, of course, now 4 of the 5 starters for the Tigers scored in double figures. This time of year, you need that kind of balance, don't you?
You better get it. And the teams that are going to enjoy the success in this tournament are the one that's going to play half-court basketball.
Yeah.
Either they're going to be good half-court defense or good half-court offense.
Yeah.
And I like what I've seen with the teams who have enjoyed success is that they've played really good half-court basketball.
7 of the last 10 games for LSU has been on the road because of COVID, because of scheduling, and whatever else you want to throw into that mix. But playing 7 out of your last 10 on the road certainly helps this time of year, particularly under this format, does it not?
Well, it can and cannot because everybody's on the road. I mean, so I just think that what's really going to be the key for LSU is if they can control the amount of turnover.
Yeah.
That's what kills you.
Yeah, those unforced errors.
Yeah, that's what really takes team out. And, if you start making turnovers, they're going to lead to layups or a layup in the foul or something like that.
Right.
So they need to control the amount of turnovers. They need to make sure that they can get some shots in the paint. They're doing relatively good on the perimeter,
right,
but they have to score some in the paint. And then you have to make your free throws.
Oh, yeah, pure and simple. And it still to this day amazes me how something as fundamental as a free throw, so many people still struggle with that aspect of the game.
They don't work at it that much. Back in the days when you were growing up, coaches demanded, but I mean, right now people want to shoot the three. I've got to get it.
But that's a full third of the game. You got offense, you got defense, and you got free throws. How do you not focus on that at some point? I mean, the really good ones, they would tell us all the time, well, before practice, I show up early, I shoot 150, 200 free throws. After practice is over, I stick around, I shoot another 150, 200 free throws. That's the kind of young person that is not going to shoot a 56% free throw production figure. How do you not? It's a full third of the game. How do you not focus on that, emphasize that?
It's the way of the world, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, other things are more important to them.
I bet you can dunk, but you can't shoot a free throw.
More. And people love the dunk.
Yeah. Shaquille O'Neal, we won't say any more about that. The Tigers now, though, they've got their work cut out for them, advancing to the next round and taking on arguably the biggest game of the season, obviously from the tournament standpoint, but just as important from taking on the number 4 team in the nation, number 1 seed in the region, taking on Michigan. They got their work cut out for them on 2 fronts. First and foremost, things that have given the Tigers problems this year, defense. They're going to see an awfully good defensive team, Coach.
That's the one thing I think giving them trouble. The Big Ten may not be as good as it was billed to be, probably,
right,
based upon what we've been seeing.
Yeah.
And I got to believe that LSU's got a chance. I don't know what Vegas is saying,
right,
but Vegas don't play the game.
No.
But I really think they have a chance.
And, well, any team, conventional wisdom would say, that has made it this far in the tournament, you got a shot.
Got a shot. And the key is staying out of foul trouble. Don't give up the easy points. You know what I'm saying? Make your free throws. You can stay close to them, and don't do what you did against Alabama.
Oh, for
let them
God's
drive the length of the floor and not.
We don't even want to talk about that play.
Don't give those.
We don't want to talk about that play anymore.
Make them pay for making a layup.
Something else that's given LSU problems this year is the height differential. Michigan comes in, they got some pretty long, lanky fellas out there. You're talking starters 6'7", 6'8", 7 foot. They got a 6'8" and 6'9" coming off the bench. LSU's going to have to deal with the height disparity too.
They will. But again, it's all the quality of the game they play. They're still these 6'8" and 6'9". Those kids are 18 years old.
True.
They're not going to be world beaters. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, all LSU have to do is have a smart game plan and execute it.
Speaking of the game plan, you come into this contest a team that, it's no big secret, everybody knows they've been up and down and up and down and up and down all season long. Inconsistent might be the most appropriate word. Understanding the inconsistencies that the team has shown this year, what do you tell them before a game of this magnitude?
What he been telling them before, I don't know. I mean, one thing I would probably say, guys, you're right where you want to be. You're in the dance. You're right there. You're in the big house. Let's go play like you're in the big house.
We got them right where we want them.
Got them right where we want them.
Yeah. We're taking on number
Nobody's
4.
giving us a chance.
It's us against the world.
There you go.
Yeah.
Go win it for Newt Rockney. Win it for who? Win it for the Gipper.
you gotta love a country where the Hall of Fame coach at a small HBCU can quote win one for the Gipper. You gotta love it. You know, with all of the negative publicity that the LSU Nation has been subjected to with the Title IX sexual misconduct scandal, how much does the LSU athletic family need a big win right now, Coach?
Well, you're going to need several wins because this is keep rolling over and over and keep rolling.
Yeah.
But a win now will help heal some of the pain and the wounds. But it won't make them all go away.
No.
Because it's not, the situation is going to be ongoing.
Oh, yeah.
It's still got some legs on it.
Oh, yeah.
But a win will help. And for a while. It does soothe things for a while.
Was not basketball your first love athletically?
That's the first one I played.
Did you ever think about coaching?
I coached basketball.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I was an assistant coach for 4 years.
For 4 years. I was going to say 2 for whatever reason. Yeah. Do you ever, and I know you're never one that dwells on hindsight and things of that nature, but have you ever wondered what it might have been like had you chose to go into coaching in basketball instead of baseball?
Not really. Once I got to baseball, it was all...
You were too busy pushing that shopping cart with all your gear in it, heading out to the field, even worried about what might have been or what could have been, right?
Yeah, it was, at the end of the day, it was the best thing that, for me, to coach baseball.
Right.
I probably could have been successful in basketball. I was a good recruiter. Now, I would have to prove I could do the X and O's.
Right.
Because getting good players is one thing.
Coaching them
is another.
Something else. Yeah.
And I had a really good eye for talent. And the 2 coaches I worked under, Carl Emerson Stewart, told me I was a really good recruiter. And Andy Stocklin, who was a world-renowned recruiter, brought in someone as the recruiting coordinator. And a month into the job, he named me the recruiting coordinator because he told me I was better than him at recruiting.
Wow.
And I begged him not to do it. I said, please don't do it. I don't want to do this.
Right.
So getting this baseball job probably worked out in my best favor.
So you actually, for 4 years, graced the sideline and matched wits with Coach Hobdy up at Grambling.
No, he wasn't. Oh, yeah, Hobdy, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. we became really good friends too, by the way.
Really?
Coach Hobby and I really became good. What a legendary coach.
Fred Hobby.
Fred Hobby, a legend. And he and I became really good friends. And in his later years, even as he was finishing his coaching career, he liked the fact what I was doing at Southern.
Right.
You know, and we talked about a lot of things.
He was a guy that I will always be grateful for, because just starting out in the business as a brand new reporter in 1980, he was one of those guys, like all of the SWAC coaches, regardless of the sport. I could pick that phone up and call him anytime, any day, and get a great interview with him to help publicize the program and the games. And it's a different day now, but that is what that is. Speaking of his days back in the day, you can find out a whole lot about people when you talk to their old coaches. Well, we got one that we're going to see if we can't talk him into spilling some of the beans about this guy right here. His old high school coach comes up next on the Roger Cador Show. Stay with us.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with the Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Surprise, something good has finally happened in 2020. Yours truly, the Clarence Bugg Show, gets to be with you every day of the week. That's right, 11 to 12 every weekday. And of course, the Exiles right in front of yours truly from 10 to 11, yours truly 11 to 12. So now it's appointment viewing, 5 days a week here on the Pelican. The Clarence Bugg Show. The only thing missing is you.
Who says you need a vacation for a view like this? Or, I wish there was a place to get in shape. Try getting on the beaten path. Discover an ever-expanding network of trails and greenways. Some quintessential Southern beauty. Or romp through the woods in a magical land between the rivers. There's more to explore than you ever imagined. Beyond the swing sets. Breck, we are more than a playground.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Roger Cador Show. I have been so looking forward to this segment. As you all well know, when it comes to the life of a young man, particularly one that has some degree of athletic ability, coaches are some of the most influential people in their lives. In many cases, they're a substitute father figure, they're a mentor, they're a teacher. And a lot of times you can ask successful individuals, you can ask their high school coaches, and then you find out all kinds of stuff that you had no idea this successful guy ever did. So introducing with that in mind, our next guest, Coach, if you would, introduce our guest to the viewing audience.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get this guy for a long time on my show. You know, he played a key role in me getting into athletics and helping develop me as a person. And by him being patient with me, I was able to go down the road and end up doing some things. The person I'm speaking of, his name is Roosevelt Collins. Hello, Mr. Collins. I don't call you Coach. I call you Mr. Collins. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Oh, you're a wonderful person. You know, and every time you and I talk, I say, I want to live a long life just like you. Can I tell people your age?
Oh, yeah, you can tell people my age. I can tell myself.
I'm going to let you do it since you're such a big talker. Tell people how old you are.
Oh, I'm 86.
Wow.
86 years old.
Bless your heart.
You know, something must be good about you. All the other coaches who coach me are dead. I killed them, except you. Why?
I drank my water.
You drank your water. That's pretty good. Plus, you didn't stand your ground. I often tell people, and you in particular, if you could, I'd rather you tell a story about the tryout that we had. Can you elaborate on that story, tell the people?
Oh, yeah, just back in somewhere around mid 1975, somewhere
65,
around that area.
65, 66.
65, 66. I'm 86, you know.
Yeah, that's okay. That's good.
Yes, sir.
But anyway, I had volunteered for to coach the junior varsity team. I just volunteered because there was no pay during that time. And right after football, we had about 50 or 60 7th and 8th grade boys came out, and we had a game the next week after football. So I had to cut real fast, you know, down to about 12. And so I used layups, and Roger, even though he had the height, he couldn't make a layup, so he was one of the first when I cut.
You cut me, huh? So what happened the next day?
Yeah, the next day, the first person I saw in the gym was Roger Cador.
And
he defied my orders.
I really am sorry I did that. I was undisciplined. I shouldn't have never done it. But fortunate you didn't stand your ground. So what happened after that?
But I'm glad he did. Looking at everything afterward, I'm glad he did. I cut him, and he showed up the next day. And I couldn't cut him the second time.
Mr. Collins.
I don't know. There must have been some kind of divine something.
So, Mr. Collins, what went through your mind when you walked in that gymnasium the second day, and here's the guy ready for practice that you cut? What were you thinking?
Well, if I can remember, I was a little angry.
You should have been.
Yeah, I was a little angry because after I cut him, after practice, I had to take him home. He lived 12 miles from the school.
Right.
And I had to take him home 12 miles from the school. He couldn't play. And I had to take him home.
What a good man. You're a good man, Mr. Collins. That's a good man with a good heart who would do that. Mm-hmm. It took someone like you. You know what I'm saying? And I often tease you and say, the good Lord sealed your lip, sealed it. He wouldn't. Go ahead.
I feel sorry. I feel sorry for him. You know, he came back again, so
undoubtedly he was determined. He was determined to play.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad I didn't cut him the second time.
Well, I'm glad you didn't cut me a second time. You know, but
and a whole lot of youngsters, you know, a whole lot of youngsters turned out to be glad, you know, that I didn't cut him, because had I did, you just can imagine, you know, all the things that he has done, you know, to help boys and girls, youngsters.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're correct about that. But also tell, you cut a lot of other people, and what happened? What did they do? You cut them, and what did they come back or what?
Well, like I cut a lot of people, and they just accept the cut.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's not if you're a cut, that should serve as a motivator, you know, to try harder. But a lot of kids, when they're cut, they just accept, you know, that they're not good.
Mm-hmm. So
it should not be that way.
Mr. Collins, what did you see yourself more of as a coach? Were you a father figure, a teacher, a mentor, a coach? Or because of the times and because you were in a small town like New Roads, did you have to be all of the above?
I had to be all of that.
Mm-hmm.
First, I was a classroom teacher. I had my 6 classes during the day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 6 classes.
And I was just volunteering my time because there was nobody else, you know, to help the youngsters.
Right.
So I just volunteered my time.
What did you enjoy most about coaching?
Well, working with youngsters to see how they, you know, improved.
Mm-hmm.
And many of them, how they, you know, became adults after that. And the thing is, right now, I have quite a few that usually come and visit me, call me on the phone.
Right. What did you want the young men that played for you, what did you want them to learn outside of sports?
Well, one thing I used to demand that they come to practice, because, you know, coming to practice every day and demanding that they come, you know, will serve as, will help them, you know, later on when they get that job, knowing that they must get up.
Yeah.
Yep.
They must get up and go to work.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
You see?
Yeah, that's a really good lesson, life lesson about going to practice, because it builds character for as you get older. And
right.
And so many young people need it. You know, things were a little different in our part of the world, because we were rural to a large extent, and everybody was spread out. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
That showing up for practice was important, because, you know, it showed some kind of discipline. You know, one thing I often thought about, Mr. Collins, is that, you know, you didn't get paid. You know, you didn't make a lot of money first as a teacher, and then you took on the coaching and you didn't get paid. But it must have given you a tremendous amount of joy,
satisfaction,
you know, to do that. You know, people today don't do what you did. Talk to me a little about that.
Well, you know, working with kids, a lot of times, you know, it's not all the time getting paid for it. You know, it's just the satisfaction, you know, that you get, you know, to see them grow, you know, and become adults. That gives you a lot of satisfaction.
It certainly does, and I know it gave me a lot of satisfaction. You know, the things that I did in my coaching career and in life had a lot to do with the way you treated me. You know, when I was at Southern, I couldn't cut anyone. I mean, the guilt I felt trying to cut, I wouldn't do it. And when we started, you know, I always kept 70, 80 kids. And then when the NCAA said you could only have 35 players on your roster, the assistant coaches did the cutting. I didn't cut nobody. I never cut no one. I wasn't getting it. You know what? And I would sit there in meetings and say, if Mr. Collins had lived by the cut, I'm never gonna be here. Mm-hmm. You know, and I said, we don't know. I said, we really don't know what that kid is gonna be. I'm not cutting. You know, a young lady just walking here, her boyfriend used to fuss at me about, you gotta get rid of some of them boys.
Right.
I ain't cutting nobody.
Well, you learn well because you never know. You never know you never know who you're cutting.
That's right.
And the reason why I have to do it real early is because didn't have the time.
Right.
You know, didn't have the time to work on fundamentals and what have you. Didn't have the time.
And you were only one person. You were one person. Right. You were solo. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Look, I was one person that had 50 boys in that gym with 2 rubber basketballs.
Yeah. There you go. Oh my goodness, that's really a great story. You know, when people don't understand what people do when they're trying to help young people. You know, that's why people like you are. We miss you all. The system doesn't allow someone like you to do what you did anymore. The system doesn't allow it. And it's a shame because I'm sure there are some people who would like to do what you did. You got me?
Right. So sometimes you just must volunteer, you know, your time, you know, to help youngsters these days. See, a lot of times those youngsters didn't even have a father figure in the household, you know?
That's right. And I tell them, you know what I tell people? Volunteerism is a gift from God. Volunteerism is really a gift from God. Because what did he do? He sent his son, Jesus, who volunteered. He didn't get paid. So it's a gift from God. And if people just look at it, and there are a lot of benefits. So I did a lot of volunteering in my days, and I still do it. We'll do it again after the COVID-19 ends. I'll be volunteering again because it's a gift from God.
Right. And if you can remember when I talked to you, you know, later on in the years, and inquired from you as to why you came back. You remember you told me you couldn't go back home and tell your parents that you were cut?
That's right. Couldn't go back home. Because let me tell you why. I had got my father to stop doing the one thing he knew in life, farm. I say, I want to go to school and I don't want to do this. And he stopped farming. So I couldn't go back home a failure. That was one of the driving moments for me. You know, no one knew it other than you. You're the only one I shared that with, that I couldn't go back home a failure. So we might have to have fought. We might have fought in that place. If you know, because I'm never going back home to let my daddy know what he gave up all what he had so I could have that opportunity. And it's not good. I had no option. You know, kids today don't do that. Their parents give a lot for them and they don't really care enough about it.
Right.
Listen, we could talk forever. I'm telling them we don't have any more time. They're telling me I got to end it. Hey, we really enjoyed Mr. Collins. Thanks for taking time out. I'll be in touch with you, okay?
Okay, well, thanks very much. It was a pleasure to have met Coach Roger Cador.
I got you. That's good.
Take care, Mr. Collins. All right, final break. We're way overdue. We're going to bang this out real quick, come back and wrap up this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Looking to get some keys made, locks rekeyed, or a wide variety of new and used safe? Then look no further than the trusted choice of Alfred Safe and Lock, conveniently located off of Government Street in Mid-City, Baton Rouge. Trust the expert locksmith at Alfred for all of your residential, commercial, and industrial lock and safe needs. Trusted by Baton Rouge and me, Roger Cador, to protect what is yours since 1946.
Surprise, something good has finally happened in 2020. Yours truly, the Clarence Buggs Show, gets to be with you every day of the week. That's right, 11 to 12 every weekday. And of course, the Exiles right in front of yours truly from 10 to 11, yours truly 11 to 12. So now it's appointment viewing. 5 days a week here on the Pelican. The Clarence Buggs Show. The only thing missing is you.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Today's show. Real quick, Coach, a couple of things real quick. Tipping our hat to Southern University today. They recently adopted a youth baseball team, donating $1,000 for equipment, something much needed in our neighborhoods.
Oh, yeah, you have to take care of the neighborhood, the kids in the neighborhood. It makes good sense.
Yeah. Also, Tulane announcing last week that they are going to play host to the first ever Legacy Bowl. It will be carried on the NFL Network, and they will invite 100 of the top HBCU prospects to play a game in Tulane Stadium and showcase their abilities to the nation. You can't put a premium on that kind of exposure, can you?
Well, this is the kind of exposure they hadn't had in a long time, so it's pretty good for them to have it.
Yeah.
And it's in a great place in New Orleans.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Won't have too much time, won't have any time actually to talk about, but it's still early in the conference season. LSU dropping their opening conference series to Mississippi State. Southern, after sweeping Grambling, dropping their series over the weekend to Texas Southern. Hopefully, since it is still a little early, we will have better results from both of our Baton Rouge-based institutions of higher learning as the season progresses on. That is going to put a wrap on another week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. On behalf of the coach, the one and only, give him hell as a 12-year-old, Roger Cador, and, of course, the crew out in the truck, and floor producer extraordinaire, Mighty, with his new 19-year-old girlfriend. I'm Clarence Buggs. We'll see you next week. Until then, go Jags.